Welcome to the first ever episode of the Virtual Rehab Bros, where Dr. Kyle Richmond and I, Dr. Mitch Israel, bro out on the topic of growing on social media, especially as rehab practitioners, and how to turn that into an online business, building your online brand, etc. So let's just introduce to the people who we are. Kyle, what are you about, man?
I'm my guy. I am Dr. Kyle Richmond. I own a clinic in Frankfort, Illinois, Rebuilt Strength and Rehab. But my primary focus lately has been doing a lot of stuff on social media. Graduated chiropractic school in the end of 2021. Had no intention of doing social media to this extent or even having a virtual platform to do coaching and all this stuff. But here we are 2 years later with a fairly big following and trying to figure out what to do with it now.
Yeah, well, today is January 17th of the year 2024. Why don't you give people kind of your numbers, where you're at, like especially Instagram, since that's where both of us have the biggest followings.
Yeah, I haven't done much on other platforms. I know I need to do that. But on Instagram, I graduated chiropractic school and I had like 700 followers on Instagram, which I've just had Instagram for 4 or 5 years, thought nothing much of it. I actually thought I wasn't going to use social media. I was like, this is kind of stupid. I don't want to do TikToks and dances and all this stuff.
It's funny because I had the same exact thoughts as you.
Yeah, I was like, if I get rid of it, the only reason I kept it was because I wanted to learn from other people who are doing very well in the space and put great information out. Never thought that would be someone of myself. But then I started using social media here and there. Like, all right, this is a really good way to show people what we do because, as a chiropractor, people go, you're a chiropractor. I've heard enough. I know what that is. You're like, well, hey, I do something a little different or very different. How do I show that? And social media was the perfect way. I started slowly posting over the course of year and a half, like just whatever I could. I didn't know I was just a picture or learning how to do reels, videos. It was so sporadic. I had no strategy. I was just learning to post. And then October of 2022, I saw someone post a challenge like, hey, try to post a reel every single day for the month. You'll see really good growth. I'm like, yeah, okay. I started doing that. I actually got really good at it because I found a system. I got confident with it, learned how to batch content. And then once October was done, I'd grown maybe like 1,000 followers. I'm like, this is pretty awesome. Well, let's just keep doing it because now it's easy. I've done it. Let's just keep going. All the way through until February of 2023, all of a sudden I had this reel that just blew up. I remember picking up my phone, you had like 2,000 notifications that you missed. I'm like, well, that's weird. I get like 50 likes a day, maybe. I had a reel just going crazy. I went from 3,000 followers to like 10,000 followers in like 3 days. And then ever since then, it's just been a slow cycle of up and up and up. But having a strategy now definitely helps. And as of today, I'm at like 59,000, which is crazy within the last 10 to 11 months to have that sort of growth. But I've been posting every single day since October of 2022. So got year and 4 months worth of content, plus some days are doubles. But I've had a different strategy than you did because I want to hear now your numbers and your growth.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Mitch Israel, as I stated in the intro. I am a rehab chiropractor. I practice at Reach Rehab and Chiropractic in Plymouth, Michigan, which is right outside of Detroit. And I've only been doing social media for about a year now. So I started last January. So I have quite a few things that happened over that past year. Because now I'm currently sitting at, I think, just under 91,000 followers on Instagram. And then I think I just hit 43,000 followers on Facebook as well. And
I did not know that.
And then I'm also trying to build up my YouTube following. I'm just under 2,200 subs. So that's my 2024 goal, is to start growing the YouTube with the other platforms. Kind of a similar background that you mentioned, where I'm a chiropractor by trade. I graduated from Logan University, shout out Leopards. That's in St. Louis, or just outside of St. Louis, Missouri, in December of 2020, the perfect time to graduate. And I just noticed, as a chiropractor, everybody just assumes you just adjust people all day.
Yep.
And we both practice similarly. We have a lot of techniques that we both use. And it's such a small percentage of what we actually do in the clinic room. And I thought, social media is a great way to showcase my other skill sets. Like we don't just do this, we don't just do this. And really, the big thing that drove me over the edge is whenever I would give someone a home exercise, I go to YouTube or wherever and look up that exercise, and the exercise references were awful, awful. And all of them are like 10 years old, outdated, no clean audio. So that's kind of what spawned me getting on camera because I was not comfortable on camera at the very beginning. I don't know if you were, but
I'm still not.
yeah, I needed to show patients these exercise references. So that's how I started. I started shooting those, and I was like, you know what? Reels just came out. I never used TikTok. I was always an Instagram user. I was like, let me just throw some of these up online just to see how they do. Kind of a similar background. I mean, mine had traction sooner than yours, but I think after 6 weeks of posting at least, I think 5 reels per week, I finally had one go viral, and then that just started to snowball, and it really hasn't stopped since. And that's the big thing, is just finding out kind of what you want to do with social media, having a goal with it, and then just staying consistent with that goal. And it depends on what you're there for. Are you a practice that wants to get patients? Well, those goals are going to be different than you or I trying to grow our personal brand. Ideally, you'd probably want to do both from our experience, and you have more experience with that since you own your own practice. But yeah, it's been a grind the last year. I've learned a ton, and I can't wait to keep learning. And I'm glad we're finally documenting our journeys together, because we've been in contact with each other for
a few months now. I don't remember when.
I know it was before the holidays last year.
Yeah, I want to say it was like October-ish, maybe.
Yeah, it was one of those like we knew of each other. We probably like DM'd every now and then.
Yeah, and then we're like, okay, look at these followings. We're like, oh, okay.
Like, we just got to talk. Like, you're clearly doing stuff different than me, and we're both trying to grow our followings. Let's just get together, talk, and then we hit it off from there. And now we're starting
the virtual
Rehab Bros.
And that's the crazy thing too, right? Is that we both have large followings, but we both attacked it differently, but the same principles apply. And that's what we kind of started realizing, like, oh, you're doing this and I'm doing that, but the base principle of that is the exact same. And that's the things we're going to kind of teach and explain to people, is you don't have to do exactly the same thing. Because if you look at the way you and I use social media, how we interact with people, the things we post, there is a vast difference, but we still kind of get to the same point. And it's almost like a chiropractor and a PT, right? Like, well, if they're both really good and using the same principles, it's going to look almost identical as the end product. So it's kind of what we do. The
goals will get there. Just to dive in what you're bringing up, Kyle's probably a little bit more active on his social media platforms than
I
me.
need to get off it.
Yeah. I'm a big, like, post it, move on with my day, maybe check the notifications throughout the day, especially if there's a lot of comments. But I'm very hands off, just because I don't know. I'm, as someone who uses social media for business, I don't love using it personally. So it's funny. Ever since I started my professional page about a year ago, I maybe checked my personal page maybe like 10 times, just every now and then, like if someone DMs me. But or usually it's the bros sending memes. You know how it goes.
Oh, I still get those.
Yeah.
There's a hard separation there.
Yeah, so it's fascinating how we both were able to grow using different strategies, and obviously we're going to take everybody along the journey together. And if someone feels more how I do about social media, you don't have to love it to use it and grow. So I think that's very fascinating. But also, if you love using it, you've grown with different strategies than me. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just about finding that right balance for you, as long as it aligns to your goals and what you're trying to achieve using the platforms.
I think that's a great point too, because everyone thinks there's this magic one thing you have to do. Like there's this exact path that you have to take in order to get there. And we see there's a lot of variation in how you can get there. But you got to follow the basic principles of it. And that's, again, we'll really dive into with people.
I was going to say that leads into episode 1, or it'll probably be episode 2 because there's one thing we both follow, even though we use different strategies. And it's the one thing everybody knows, but they never want to accept it. Maybe I'll leave the cliffhanger there as we wrap up our intros.
Yeah.
But if anyone wants to find us, maybe we should have did this at the beginning.
That's smart. We should put those little tags on here. That'd be
yeah. We should put the little at. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm on Instagram at Dr. Dr. period Mitch Israel. And then you are, I know yours, but tell us all.
At Dr. period. No, wait, at Dr. Kyle period Richmond. Come on, I should know this. At Dr. Kyle period Richmond.
Hey, we can edit this out.
Yeah, we'll just scrap that. We're learning.
Yeah, and then my Facebook is just Dr. Mitch Israel. Do you have a Facebook?
I have a personal and I have a business one that I don't even use. Don't even worry about my Facebook. Maybe one day.
Okay. Hey, you can't, if you use all the platforms too soon, you tend to overwhelm.
Oh, we're going to touch on that. It's a lot. That's why people quit. When I started, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Facebook Reels, I'm going to go to TikTok, then I'm going to go to YouTube, and I'm going to go to Instagram. Like that's like an hour and a half of my time if you're not good with it. It is, and it's daunting to do that. So we'll talk about it.
And as you get more advanced, you could schedule things. I mean, there's softwares you can use. I mean, you can go on Fiverr and hire someone for cheap, but those are some higher level strategies that we'll dive into as these episodes go on. So if you have any questions, hit us up on Instagram. That's the best place to follow both of us and also get a hold of both of us. So don't be afraid to reach out, especially if you have specific questions. We're going to just free flow this and give you our experience and go over major topics. But if you have specific questions, maybe we'll do some Q&A episodes sprinkled in here. Just because we want everybody to grow. I mean, this isn't like a huge secret.
We're not gatekeeping here. Yeah, we're not like, oh, here's the one thing that we're only going to tell you. No, we'll give the information away because why not?
Yeah, and that's where people think, so I didn't start my social media. Oh, it's 2024. Right. It's too late. It's like, how many users are there on these platforms? And are those users going down or are they rapidly increasing? Right. So this is an ocean. We're not talking about a pond here. So the big thing is just getting started, and I'll leave it at that as we wrap up episode 1. All right, Kyle, any final?
I love it.
Any final words?
No, I love it. You hit